For a better understanding of this new diplomatic relationship, Arsen Ostrovsky, an international human rights lawyer and Middle East expert, joins us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. Now, Israel and Sudan have agreed to work towards normalizing relations in a deal brokered by the US. Tell us a little bit about this deal and what do the parties stand to gain from it?
Look, I think we're truly seeing history in the making. It took Israel 72 years to have 3 peace agreements with Arab countries, and we've seen in the last 72 days 3 further peace agreements, first with the UAE, then with Bahrain, and just overnight with Sudan. But the Sudan agreement is something that is, I think, truly powerful because Sudan was the birthplace of the 3 no's from Khartoum in 1967. No to recognizing Israel, no to negotiations, and no to peace. So the 3 no's have now become the 3 yeses. Yes to recognizing Israel, yes to normalization, and yes to peace. So this really changes, I think, the paradigm going forward, not only in terms of the relation between Sudan and Israel, but really between the Arab world, which we're seeing increasingly embracing the state of Israel, and as the president announced, with a number of Arab countries to come as well in the coming, hopefully, weeks as well.
Right, well said. However, several experts say that it is still not immediately clear whether Sudan's transitional government has the authority to strike such a deal, since the country remains without a parliament as of now. So is this just a way for Donald Trump to score some domestic political points over Joe Biden?
Look, I don't believe it is because, look, in the big scheme of things, in terms of the US elections coming up on the 3rd of November, I'm not sure if this will be such a big influencing factor. The US elections will be very much fought on domestic grounds. Nonetheless, this does show that, this is a huge diplomatic victory for the president, who not only managed to receive something like $350 million in repatriations from Sudan, but also show that he is a peacemaker, and he has been able to broker 3 peace agreements between Israel and Arab countries, and you can add a 4th one if you count Kosovo, which is in Europe, but it is a Muslim majority nation as well. So he is showing that in his turn that he has become a peacemaker for peace in the Middle East.
Right. Now, Arsen, tell us a little bit about the consequences of the opposition to this deal, specifically from Palestinians. What lies ahead for the regional conflict in the region?
Yeah, I mean, look, no sooner than this announcement was made, exactly the same as after the announcements after the UAE and Bahrain, the Palestinians immediately came out to condemn the announcement and to call it a stab in the back. But the reality is that soon enough, the Palestinians will have no more Arab countries to condemn because they are making peace with Israel one by one. So what this is showing, I think it's truly is becoming a paradigm shift in the regional geopolitics, where the Arab nations are saying that they're becoming fed up and tired of the Palestinian intransigence and rejectionism, and that they will no longer allow the Palestinians to hold the veto power over peace and over their relations with Israel. And as we've seen also with the Sudan agreement, that this is a very wide-ranging agreement for them, not only take Sudan off the terror watch list, but there's also a lot there in terms of the bilateral and trilateral trade with Israel, with the US, in terms of agriculture and investment. So the Arab countries are saying that, in essence, that they will no longer allow the Palestinians to dictate terms to them. So the ball is now squarely in the Palestinian court to determine how they will act from here.
Right. Arsen, thank you so much for all your inputs on this news development, and thank you for joining us on this broadcast.
Thank you.